Joining us right now is Dan Primack, who is Axios business editor. And Dan, this is the stuff of soap operas. You hear things that come out on the stand. You find out about all kinds of details that people have speculated on to this point. What did you think?
I thought, for starters, soap opera, yes, but a god-awful should be canceled soap opera. It's been extraordinarily boring. And honestly, I'm somebody who cares about this, right? And should be interested in listening. I find myself kind of spacing out and dozing off. I can't imagine what the jury is thinking. Ultimately, though, this really comes down not to what Elon tweeted and even what was true, because the judge has already ruled the tweet was untrue and that it was reckless. It's what was in Elon's mind, which is why the ultimate verdict here, who knows? He has to have believed it was untrue, not just that it was untrue. He had to be thinking he was essentially committing fraud.
Well, that's a possibly high bar. They're never going to get over that.
Obviously, the plaintiff's lawyers think they can. I will say he has let a couple things slip, and it almost feels like the plaintiff attorney's strategy is to keep asking questions over and over, and this email and this conversation in the hopes that Elon will get tired and let something slip. And on the second day, he did at one point acknowledge that he thought his tweet would help the stock price go up. It was one little thing. He kind of denied that for a while, but at one point he said that. My guess is the plaintiff's attorneys are going to hammer that in close.
Whoops. Dan, if you're bored by this, how do you think Elon Musk feels going through all this?
He seems bored by it on the stand, although, again, it's unclear if his kind of strategy is to be very monotone and appear bored. I will say, before his first day of testimony, and you never know exactly when you're going to get called for one of these things, there were witnesses before him. Like 10, 15 minutes before he took the stand, he was tweeting about things that had nothing to do with this. I think stuff about Twitter, maybe stuff about Tesla, but not about any of the trial. He seems kind of annoyed by it. Which again goes to this question of state of mind, what his real goal was. I will say his explanation for why he tweeted funding secured just strikes me as odd. He's kind of said that there had been a leak to the Financial Times about how the Saudis had taken a stake in Tesla. And so he was concerned there could be a new leak that he was thinking about doing a take private. And thus, well, if you're a Tesla shareholder and some of you read the FT and some of you don't, that would be, undemocratic for Tesla shareholders. But Tesla has an IR department. At the time, it had a comms department. He could have simply asked them to, put out a statement to the SEC and a public statement, et cetera. He did none of that.
Yeah, and I would guess not all Tesla shareholders are on Twitter either.
Correct, yeah.
Dan, how much of a distraction has this become on top of the distraction that is Twitter, that he now owns as well? I think that's the biggest question for Tesla shareholders on this. If he is a key man and he is the most important part of that company, and you're only getting part of his time and part of his brain at this point, and it's an ever-shrinking part of it because he's got so many other things he's doing, including getting dragged in for depositions and getting dragged in for court appearances like this.
We'll start with he doesn't seem to sleep as much as a normal person does. That seems to be clear. He seems to.
Although he has said he tries to sleep 7 hours because he tried less and it wasn't very productive.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm amazed if he can pull that off, given the amount of time he seems to be doing things. I guess the argument would be right now, if you're a Tesla shareholder, how much of that really do you believe is Elon Musk specifically, as opposed to the people who are actually there day to day at Tesla? If you're betting on Elon and that's the reason you're a Tesla shareholder, I'd be surprised you're still a Tesla shareholder. He clearly has, very split time. At best, he could be spending a third of his time, maybe sometimes half of his time there. And the bigger issue, I would think, with shareholders with this particular lawsuit is it could be a major hit to Tesla in terms of money. We have no idea what the damages could be, but they could be substantial.